In this video, I'm going to show you how to make amazing full animated stories from start to finish, with consistent scenes and characters to incredible animated shots with realistic lip syncing. Okay, let's get into it. This video is going to be broken up into different chapters, so we'll do script, images, video, sound, and editing. I've made sure to leave links down below to all of the tools used in this video. And I'll try make it as easy to follow as possible, so you can hopefully get your video made quickly and without any problems. So let's start with the script. And for this I'm going to be using ChatGPT. You can use your own custom script if you have one. I'll just show you my method using ChatGPT to create quick and easy scripts. I had this idea of creating an animation of an ordinary man who gets mistaken for a spy. So for the prompt, I put write me a short story about an average office worker named Dave who gets mistaken for a spy. And let's see what we get. And it's generated a pretty good story for me. From here, I want to break it down into 5 scenes and I want the animation to last around 30 seconds to 1 minute long. So then I just add into the prompt, break it up into 5 scenes, the story should be 30 seconds to 1 minute in length. And it's broken it up into different scenes describing what happens in each one. And interestingly, it's given me some narration to add over the top. And I also got ChatGPT to change the story slightly, so I've got my 5 new scenes to work with. The amazing thing with ChatGPT is that you can go as simple or as advanced as you want. So if scene 1 isn't quite what you were looking for, you can just say write me an alternative for scene 1, or just give it some guidance on what you're looking for. Now let's look at creating the images. You can ask to create different characters and name them how you want. So I've put into the prompt, create an image for the Dave character in Pixar CGI style, landscape aspect ratio. You can choose any style you want, but for this story I wanted it to have that Pixar look to it. And the result looks awesome. Now this is a close-up version of the character, but if you want an image to reference that is a full body one, just add it into the prompt. And it's done a great job at creating a full body pose of this character. These images are great then to use as references for your character in the future. Now I wanted a slightly different look for the character, so I asked ChatGPT to create some variations, and I really liked this image, so this is the version of the character that I'll use going forward. So in the first scene, it's Dave sitting down at his desk while sipping a cup of coffee. And as you can see, it gives me the information of the text on the phone, but I'm actually going to break that up into a separate image. So I'll show you what I mean. So what I've done is I've attached the image of the character, and then for the prompt I just say create an image for, then I put in the scene of the title that ChatGPT gave me, as ChatGPT knows to reference that scene and the content of it, and then I put using the character and the same style as the attached image, with a landscape aspect ratio. And I'm really impressed with the image. It's put our character into an office environment, and it's even added in the text message that ChatGPT wrote in that scene. It hasn't quite nailed the text, but it is very close. But I actually want to remove this phone, so I'll show you a really awesome feature within ChatGPT where you can edit your images, just in case you want to change something within the image. So all you have to do is come up to this select button, and you just select the area that you want to edit out. And then I'll just put into the prompt, remove the phone. And it's done a great job at editing the phone out of the shot. And now for the next shot, I want to show him holding his phone and looking at the message. So to do this, I'm going to attach that image of Dave sitting at his desk, and then write in a close-up image of the man in the image holding his phone. And then I prompted it with what I want the message to say on the screen, and I make sure to say only show his hand holding the phone, landscape aspect ratio. It's managed to keep the same style, and it's created the message perfectly. And then for the next shot, I actually want a close-up of his eyes as he's looking at this peculiar message. Now to do this, I follow the same method as before. I've uploaded the image of the character sitting down so it has that reference. And then I've put into the prompt, create an extreme close-up image of the eyes of the character in the attached image. And I'm blown away with the results. I find this method is amazing at creating consistency between your shots. I like to mix up my shots like we've had the wide shots of the character, and now this one is a close-up, and it just helps to mix things up within your story. And it just helps make the animation a bit more interesting with a variety of different shot types. and adding the reference image into the prompt helps with creating the character inside of that environment. So it's got the same kind of lighting as the original image. And if you cut in between all of these images, they seem like they're from the same scene. Then I just did the same process for each scene. Like for scene 2, I added in that original image of the character sitting at his desk, and then I just used the same prompt as before, but I just changed scene 1 for scene 2, disarm the bomb. And ChatGPT will look at the scene that it wrote before and fill in the image with the appropriate context. And it gave me this awesome image of the character thinking that he's disarming the bomb, which in his case is just a burnt toast. And it's done a great job at keeping the same visual style and keeping the character consistent. Now, you may have to steer ChatGPT in the right direction sometimes. As for the third image, I didn't give it a reference image, I just gave it this prompt. Now, the image looks really good, don't get me wrong, but you can tell that the visual style has changed slightly from a kind of 3D Pixar look to a more 2D illustration look. So if you find this is happening, then just do the same prompt, but add in a reference image so that it knows what visual style to use. So I did it again, and it did a much better job at sticking with the style. You can also do environmental images if you want to establish your scene. So as you can see in this image here of the character, I just wanted a shot of the environment with nobody in it, so I added in that reference image and then said image of a street in the same style as the attached image. And it created this image, so these are great if you just want to add in some location shots into your animation. And then you can let it flow into the next shot of the character in that environment. And I also created an awesome movie poster for this animation. To do this, I just added the image of Dave into the prompt box, and then I prompted it with using the character from the attached image, create a movie poster for this story. And then I just wrote in what I wanted the title to be. And I also said to create it in the Mission Impossible style font. And it looks incredible. There is no exploding helicopter in my animation, so I actually selected these parts and changed it up a little bit. So I added in the image of the old lady and the spy that's in my animation, and prompted it to replace them in the poster. And I think it looks awesome. And remember, you can take these characters and change how they look as well. So here was a scrapped version of a dream sequence for Dave where he's dreaming of doing amazing things. So I've put him in an astronaut costume, and it's kept the character consistent but just changed his outfit. And here he's dreaming of being a noble knight. So just remember, you can be very flexible with these characters and putting them in different outfits if you want to. You're not just stuck to how they initially look. The problem with ChatGPT is that the images come out at a 4:3 aspect ratio, but the most common aspect ratio is 16:9. So if you do want to change your image, you can use websites like Recraft. You can sign up for free and they give you a handful of credits to use. So I'll just show you how to use it now. So I've uploaded this image, then click Insert and go down to Frame. Then you just do a frame around it, and you can change the aspect ratio there. So I want 16:9, and then just center your image and make sure it's stretched out, and you've only got the sides to fill then. Then make sure to click on this purple area here, and then click on Recraft Frame. And then it should seamlessly fill in those extra areas. It's done an awesome job at filling in those sides, and now we have a 16:9 aspect ratio image. So you can do this for all of your shots if you want them to be widescreen. Otherwise, you can just crop it into your original ChatGPT images to make them 16:9, but you will lose some of that image. What I like to do once I've finished all of my images is to lay them all out and see if they all look like they're part of the same story and that they flow naturally. And then if you find an image that you feel sticks out and doesn't belong in your story, you can go into ChatGPT and edit it in there. I'm really happy with all of the images for this story, so now let's have a look at turning these into videos. Now, I know there are loads of AI video generators out there, and shortly I'll show you how these videos turn out using different AI video generators, just so that you get to see how they all look. A really good option is Kling AI, so let's turn this image of Dave into a video using Kling. So when you're on Kling, just make sure you're on the video generation tab, and I'll be using the amazing Kling 2.1 model. I won't be using the master version as it costs nearly 3 times the price, but the results I've been getting with 2.1 have been really good. So I've added the image of Dave sitting down in the start frame. I'm using the professional mode, and I've just set it for 5 seconds. So for this example, I'm actually going to leave the prompt box empty, as I've found Kling does a really good job at just looking at the image and animating it in a natural way without the need for a prompt. But I will show you shortly on how adding prompts can really help. So I'll click generate and let's check out the result. I'm very impressed with the video. It's got a really nice natural animation to it, and it seems like it's come straight out of a Pixar film. So using the same image of Dave, I want to see if I can prompt Dave to pull his phone out of his pocket. So I've just put into the prompt, man takes smartphone out of his pocket. Now I know that is a very basic prompt and I could probably word it better, but I just went for simplicity in this one. And I am blown away with the result. He pulls his smartphone out of his shirt pocket, and I think Kling has done an incredible job at animating the shot. And here's another version, but with a 10-second version instead. So as you can see, it takes its time a little bit more, but it has a really professional look to it. I am super happy with how these look. Then I tried another shot, and I just put into the prompt, he picks up the dog poo. And it listened to the prompt perfectly. So far, I found the prompt adherence in Kling 2.1 to be really good. Now I'm going to add an end frame to show you how to do some really nice transitions between shots. Now, at the time of recording this video, the end frame option isn't available in 2.1 model yet, so you have to switch to the 1.6 model, which is still a great model to use. So for the first image, I've got Dave sitting at his desk, and then I want the camera to move close to his eyes, and I've just put into the prompt, zoom into his face. And the shot looks great, so this is just another method if you want to create some more dynamic movement between your shots. Another thing I like to animate is these environmental shots. So I've got this shot of the street and I want the camera panning up, just to add a bit of subtle motion to it. So I've just put into the prompt camera pans up. And it's created a really nice camera movement in the shot. So these kind of shots are perfect for setting the scene in your animation. So here's a look at different AI video generators using the same image and the same prompt. Now, while they all look okay, I still think Kling 2.1 is the better looking video. If you do want to test out different video generators, then I would highly recommend using a website like OpenArt, as they provide a ton of different video generators all from one website. And they do have Kling 2.1. If you do want to check this out, then I've left a link to it down below. Now let's have a look at creating the voices and lip syncing for the characters. To create my voices for the characters, I use 11 Labs. In 11 Labs, you have text-to-speech, so you can type in whatever you want, and then choose from a huge range of voices for your character, and you get to tweak the settings, and it gives really high-quality results.
Are they sure they have the right Dave?
Or you can record your own voice if you want to control how you want the character to speak, and then use 11 Labs voice changer to turn it into different characters. So here's an example. Hello, this is a test to see how I sound. How do I sound?
Hello, this is a test to see how I sound. How do I sound?
Now for lip syncing, Kling AI does have lip syncing built into their website. So let's check out an example. Now all you have to do is click on lip sync, and then you can type in whatever you want your character to say, or you can upload, say, a clip from 11 Labs that you've created, upload it into here, and it will sync the lips with the audio. So I'll show you a result from text-to-speech and one from the uploaded 11 Labs audio. With text-to-speech, you get to pick from a variety of different voices, and then you can change things like the speech rate, and what's really nice is you can change the emotion as well. So this is what the video looks like with a text-to-speech lip sync.
Well, this day isn't going as planned.
And I think it works really well actually, especially with the character lifting the mug up, it still manages to do a natural animation on the mouth. And here's a version with an 11 Labs voice.
Are they sure they have the right Dave?
Another method which gives incredible facial animations is Hedra. So with Hedra, you just give it a start frame, and then you can give it a text speech or upload your own audio, and it creates some really nice animated videos from it.
Are they sure they have the right Dave?
But the only problem is the character is the only thing that's animated, and the background is quite static normally. So this is a great option if your character is still most of the time, but if there's a lot of movement in your shots, I probably wouldn't use this. My favorite method for creating lip syncing and facial animation on your characters is using Runway's Act 1 feature. With Act 1, you use your own facial performance, which then controls how your character looks. So here's an example. So from the home page, just click on Generate Video, then make sure you use Gen 3 Alpha or Gen 3 Alpha Turbo, and come down to the Act 1 tab. So I just filmed myself saying this line that I want the character to say, "Target eliminated." So you add your facial performance video at the top here, and then down below, if you come to custom, you add in the video that you want to put the animation onto. So I've just put in the video of Dave with the smoking toaster, and you can set the strength of the motion intensity. Now, I find this doesn't really do much, even if you put it from 1 all the way to 5. I normally keep it around 4. So let's check out the video. Target eliminated. Target eliminated. I am really happy with how that turned out. And as you can see, it creates a really nice and natural facial animation, and you get to control how it looks. And then from here, you can take the audio from this video, put it into 11 Labs, and use their voice changing software to change your voice into a different character's voice.
Target eliminated.
So I actually went through all of my animated videos and used Act 1 to do my lip syncing for the character, and then changed the voice using 11 Labs. For the music in my animation, I used Udio, but you can use other ones like Suno, and Refusion is really good as well, as they have a free plan that you can play around with. Make sure to play around with different prompts in the music, as for this one I went for a spy-themed music prompt. And I'm really happy with what it created, and I feel like it fits the animation perfectly. Then if you want to add a little bit extra to the video, you can add some sound effects. Now going back to 11 Labs, they have an awesome sound effects tool. So you can just write in what kind of sound you want, you can choose the duration or leave it on auto, and they also have the prompt influence. I usually leave that around the middle. So here's some of my examples that I've done. So here I have a busy office ambience. And here's some other examples. I found all of them to be really high quality. It's really handy to do all the voice work and sound effects from one website. So I would highly recommend testing this out. Now we've gone through and added the voices to our characters, now let's have a look at editing. If you're using a preferred video editor, then go ahead with that. But for this example, I'll show you how to quickly make a basic edit using CapCut's free video editor. So I'm on CapCut's online video editor, then I'll just click on New Video. Then just drag in your video and audio files. So I've just added a few of the clips into the timeline, and I've got my background music as well there. Now if you listen to the music and you want it to be quieter, just click on the music track, go to basic, and then change the volume from here.
One man receives a call that will change everything.
The world needs saving. Are they sure they have the right Dave?
Okay, so I'm happy with how that's looking, and if you want to add transitions between the shots, then you can do that from this tab here. So make sure to test out the transitions to find the one that suits your animation. And it's really easy to adjust your clips as well, so if you want to make a clip shorter, just make sure to drag in from the end that you want to edit. And if you want to put a cut into the shot, then just click on Split Scene. And if you have audio attached to that video file, just right click it and then click on Separate Audio, and you'll see the audio is down here, so then you can adjust the volume and then you can edit that audio from there. So I'm going to go ahead and add in the rest of the shots, and then we can see the finished video. Okay, so I finished editing that video, and let's check it out.
In a world where ordinary meets extraordinary, one man receives a call that will change everything.
The world needs saving. Are they sure they have the right Dave? Disarm the bomb? Oh no! Target eliminated. Save the hostages?
Oh, thank you, dear.
No problem. Just doing my job. What now? Saving the world can really suck. Mission complete. Finally.
Wrong Dave. Seriously.
Oh, hey, great Tuesday, huh?
Every time.
I am really happy with how that turned out, and I think this is an incredible method at getting your stories into an animated form. So we've reached the end of this video, and I urge you to take your stories and turn them into some amazing animations. Now, if you have any tips or tricks you want to share with the community, then please leave a comment down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. My name is Jack, and I will see you in the next one.